Earth lay on the outskirts of the galaxy, a forsaken realm of harsh deserts and treacherous mountains. The planet had become a shadow of its former self, isolated in a galaxy that once admired its cultural brilliance. Now, Earth was labeled a death world, a place teeming with hostile ecosystems that gave birth to creatures capable of slaughtering any unwary traveler. Humanity had learned to survive in this brutality, adapting its methods and weapons to match the vicious world that bore them. Gone were the thriving cities and bustling trade routes. Earth now existed as a pariah, cut off from the galactic community, a place of fear and distrust. The inhabitants had become hardened, their once brilliant minds now focused solely on survival. The horrors of Earth's ecosystem had forced humanity to evolve, to become as relentless and unforgiving as the very planet they called home. Yet, despite their survival, Earth was on the brink of annihilation, isolated and shunned by the galaxy it once thrived within. Captain Aria Nova stood as the embodiment of Earth's strength. A brilliant tactician, she had risen from the ashes of Earth's chaotic past. Raised in the harshest districts where violence was common and hope was a commodity few could afford, Aria had learned to fight for survival in every sense of the word. Now, leading Earth's resistance, her sharp mind and unwavering resolve made her the planet's finest general. Her leadership was forged through fire, and while her instincts leaned toward diplomacy, Aria understood one truth deeply. Survival would not come from peace alone. The galaxy's judgment had already been passed, and the only way Earth could reclaim its place among the stars was through force. She would not hesitate. Despite the cruelty of the methods she employed, the people of Earth depended on her relentless drive. Her moral battle with herself had only just begun. Was it enough to keep humanity alive, or was the very essence of Earth's survival tied to the monster it had become? Xander Alston, Aria's childhood friend and second in command, was the voice of reason against Aria's cold pragmatism. While he understood the need for Earth's survival, Xander believed deeply in diplomacy. He had witnessed Earth's brutality firsthand, and while the war had made him more pragmatic, the violence they were resorting to weighed heavily on his heart. His long-held belief in peaceful resolution became increasingly difficult to uphold. As the stakes grew higher, Xander had once hoped for a peaceful future where Earth could coexist with the galactic powers. However, with each battle fought, his idealism began to crack. The man who once believed in the power of diplomacy now stood at a precipice, torn between his hope for peace and the cold, undeniable truth that survival might demand the use of unimaginable violence. Xander became the counterbalance to Aria's. Fire, representing the part of humanity that longed for redemption, not just survival. The survivors of Earth were scattered across the stars, divided into factions. Some still believed in the possibility of a peaceful future, that Earth's survival could be achieved without further bloodshed. Others, however, saw only one path forward: assert their power, claim dominion over the galaxy, and never again be subject to judgment. Despite these differences, all factions were united by a single burning desire: to reclaim Earth's rightful place in the galaxy. Some believed peace was possible, others that dominance was essential, but the planet had fractured. Earth's future would depend not only on winning the battle, but on reconciling these internal divisions. Trust among the factions was thin, and their unity could easily dissolve under the weight of external pressure. The internal struggle mirrored the larger conflict with the galaxy, a battle not only for survival, but for Earth's soul. The Galactic Council had long seen Earth as a threat, a dangerous anomaly in the galaxy. The creatures that roamed Earth's surface were lethal, mutated beyond recognition by the planet's volatile environment. The Council had watched Earth's rise with both fear and disdain, deeming humanity unpredictable and too volatile to be allowed to exist freely. The planet was considered a ticking time bomb, its destruction an inevitability unless humanity could prove it had evolved. Earth had been cut off from galactic trade and diplomacy, shunned by all but the most desperate of species. Now, the Council had made its decision. Humanity must be exterminated. Their fleet, massive and powerful, was already on its way to Earth, poised to eradicate the planet with overwhelming force. The Council believed it had no choice. Humanity's violent nature and hostile world could not be allowed to remain. It was a decision made long ago, and Earth's future now rested on the shoulders of those who had been cast aside. With the threat of annihilation looming, Earth's fate seemed sealed. The Galactic Council had issued its ultimatum: disarm, accept exile, or face extinction. Outnumbered and outgunned, Earth's forces had no choice but to fight back. Arya, unwilling to let her people be wiped out, knew their only hope was to prove that humanity's survival instinct was greater than the galaxy's fear. Earth's most dangerous weapons, the Death Worlders, would become humanity's last line of defense. The genetic monstrosities, born from Earth's hostile ecosystems, had been tamed and enhanced for combat. What had once been humanity's greatest threat would now become their greatest asset. Arya's decision was clear: fight or die. Earth would show the galaxy that it was no longer a passive player in the galaxy. It was a force to be reckoned with. Every strategy, every resource, every scrap of humanity's ingenuity would be thrown at the Council. The battle for Earth's future had begun, and it would not be fought with diplomacy. It would be fought with fire and fury. The Galactic Council had watched Earth for centuries, observing from the shadows as humanity struggled to survive on a violent world. Now, after years of surveillance, their decision was final. A cold, emotionless message broadcast to Earth's leaders, signaling the end of any potential for negotiation. Earth's violent history, its dangerous creatures, and the instability of its environment had become too great a liability for the galaxy. The Council, composed of highly advanced alien species, believed that humanity's survival instincts were a threat to the greater peace of the galaxy. Earth had been isolated, abandoned on the edge of space, and now the Council had sent a fleet of unimaginable size to eradicate it. The ultimatum was clear: Earth must disarm and accept permanent exile or face annihilation. The overwhelming power of the Council's fleet contrasted starkly with Earth's ragtag survivors, outnumbered and outgunned. Earth's future seemed sealed, and the weight of extinction loomed heavily over the planet, setting the stage for the conflict that would define humanity's existence in the galaxy. Captain Arya Nova, Earth's relentless leader, watched the transmission in grim silence. The message was clear, but a part of her still refused to accept it. She had hoped, naively perhaps, that there might be a chance for peace. She had spent years studying the intricacies of diplomacy, understanding the value of words over weapons. But now, faced with the Council's unyielding stance, Arya knew that humanity had no place in their galaxy unless it could prove its worth. She had no illusions about Earth's position. It was a threat, and the Council had made their judgment. The pain of this realization sank into her bones, and her thoughts turned to survival, to the fight ahead. She knew that a final diplomatic plea would not change their minds. Earth's reputation, its legacy of violence, could not be undone. She was left with no choice but to prepare for war. Arya's internal conflict raged. Her desire for peace clashed violently with the hard reality of survival. Earth would either face destruction or rise through sheer force. Her decision was made: survival at all costs. The finality of the Council's ultimatum brought clarity to Arya's leadership, but it also left her with a heavy burden. Earth was cornered, with no other options left but to fight. Yet the thought of using Earth's monstrous creatures, its Deathworlders, as weapons felt like a betrayal of everything she had hoped humanity could become. These genetically enhanced creatures, once the stuff of nightmares, had been humanity's greatest threat. Now they were their greatest asset. Arya made the brutal decision to deploy them, knowing that their savagery and adaptability were Earth's only chance. As she gave the order, a part of her recoiled at what she was about to do. These beasts, feared by humanity itself, were now to be the hammer with which they would fight the Council's unrelenting fleet. Arya wrestled with the weight of this decision. The Deathworlders were part of Earth's past, monstrous reminders of a violent history, and now they were humanity's future. Would unleashing them save Earth, or would it doom them all? The answer would come soon enough, but in that moment, she knew that humanity's survival depended on embracing the very violence they had once sought to escape. Of Earth's strength, a tool that will prove their place in the galaxy. But others, like Xander Alston, Arya's trusted second-in-command and childhood friend, begin to question the cost. Xander, once a firm believer in diplomacy, now stands torn between the brutal reality of their situation and the ideals that once guided him. As the weight of survival begins to blur the line between defense and tyranny, Xander's doubts grow. He fears that in their quest for survival, they are becoming the very thing the Galactic Council once feared. Arya is faced with an impossible choice. Continue down the path of aggression, or risk everything for the faint hope of peace. The internal strife within her ranks begins to mirror the larger moral struggle of humanity itself. Are they fighting to protect what is left of their humanity, or have they already lost it? Arya's leadership is tested like never before as the war intensifies. Her resolve, once solid, now cracks under the moral weight of her decisions. Each time the Deathworlders are unleashed, a part of Arya questions whether they are not just fighting for survival, but feeding into the very violence that led to humanity's downfall. The relentless use of these creatures, symbols of Earth's brutal past, is a constant reminder that humanity's greatest weapon was once its greatest curse. As Earth's forces gain ground, Arya becomes increasingly torn. How far is she willing to go to win this fight? She knows that survival is paramount, but can she justify becoming a conqueror, a force of destruction in the name of preserving her people? Each day brings Arya closer to a decision she fears may lead humanity down a path of no return. If Earth survives, what will they become? A dominant military power or a civilization capable of peace? The burden of leadership is suffocating, and Arya must grapple with the deep internal conflict that now threatens to tear apart the very foundation of her leadership. With Earth's survival hanging in the balance, the leadership fractures even further. Some factions push for a return to diplomacy, believing that any victory is hollow if it means compromising humanity's integrity. These voices advocate for submission to the Galactic Council, hoping for peace through concession and negotiation. They argue that Earth's future lies in proving humanity's willingness to coexist, to show that the planet has changed. But others, driven by fear of extinction and the brutal lessons of survival, call for a more radical approach. They argue that Earth must dominate, asserting its power over the galaxy to prevent any future threat. In the face of these opposing ideologies, Arya is forced to navigate the dangerous waters of internal politics. The pressure mounts as she struggles to unite the factions, knowing that if Earth cannot overcome its own divisions, the war and humanity itself will be lost. With the stakes growing higher, Arya is caught between the path of peace and the call for power, both threatening to unravel the fragile unity that holds Earth together. The fate of the planet rests not just on winning the war, but on choosing what kind of future Earth will have. The betrayal comes like a knife in the back. Captain Reva Kane, once a trusted ally, reveals her true colors in a shocking act of treason. Driven by ambition and a desperate desire for power, Reva strikes a deal with the Galactic Council, offering them the Deathworlders, Earth's most dangerous weapon, in exchange for control and authority within the new galactic order. The news devastates Arya, who had considered Reva a close confidant, a friend she trusted with the future of humanity. The personal nature of the betrayal cuts deeply, leaving Arya reeling. The confrontation that follows is brutal, both emotionally and physically. Arya, devastated by the loss of someone she had relied on, must make a choice. Let Reva's treachery slide in the name of survival, or stand firm in the face of betrayal, risking everything to preserve the values she holds dear. As the confrontation ends, the tension between survival and morality has never been more pronounced. Arya is left, questioning everything she stands for. Can she fight for humanity's survival while still holding on to the very ideals that make them human? Despite the chaos, humanity's resilience begins to shine through. Even as Earth's factions fracture and the weight of betrayal presses down on Arya, the human spirit refuses to be extinguished. Arya watches as her people, scarred and divided, come together in the face of their darkest hour. The Deathworlders, initially a desperate weapon of destruction, evolve into a strategic tool used with precision and care to turn the tide of war. Humanity, once only known for its brute force, now uses its ingenuity and adaptability to outsmart the technologically superior forces of the Galactic Council. Earth's survival instincts, honed over generations of hardship, drive humanity to adapt and evolve, finding new ways to fight and survive. Arya realizes that humanity's true strength lies not in its destructive power, but in its ability to learn, adapt, and overcome. The war is far from over, but with each battle, Earth's people become stronger, more united, and more determined to protect their future. The question remains: will the victory humanity earns come at too great a cost, or will they emerge from the ashes with a chance to rebuild and create a new path forward? The Galactic Council's fleet, larger and more powerful than any force Earth has ever faced, arrives in orbit around a barren planet on the outskirts of known space. The scale of their invasion is overwhelming, vast warships bristling with advanced weaponry. The Council believes this will be an easy victory, certain that Earth's meager defenses are no match for their technological superiority. But Earth's people, led by Arya Nova, refuse to go down without a fight. The battle site is cold, desolate, a stark reminder of how far humanity has fallen, but there is a fierce resilience burning within Earth's survivors. Arya stands at the helm, eyes fixed on the horizon, knowing this is not just a fight for survival, but a fight to prove humanity's worth in the galaxy. The stakes are unimaginable, but Arya's determination to protect her people and their future is unshakable. The odds may be stacked against them, but Earth is not ready to surrender. This is humanity's final stand, and they will make the galaxy witness their defiance. As the battle rages on, Arya's leadership is tested in ways she never anticipated. The weight of the decision she faces is immense. Does she continue to unleash the Deathworlders, savage, monstrous creatures genetically engineered for war, or does she hold them back, risking the loss of Earth's only chance at survival? Arya watches as the Deathworlders tear through the Council's forces, their raw power a testament to humanity's desperation. But the sight weighs heavily on her heart. She knows that with every creature unleashed, they are losing a piece of their humanity. The line between survival and tyranny is becoming dangerously thin. Arya is torn, a leader forced to choose between saving her people and protecting their very soul. Every decision she makes carries the burden of potentially condemning Earth to a future that might be no better than the violent past they sought to escape. Her internal conflict reaches a boiling point. What kind of leader will she be? What kind of future will she create for humanity? Amid the chaos of the battlefield, the true strength of humanity emerges. Arya's forces, vastly outnumbered and outgunned, rely not on raw power alone, but on ingenuity and resilience. Earth's forces utilize every tactic at their disposal: guerrilla strategies, deceptive maneuvers, and unpredictable attacks that force the Council's fleet into disarray. The Deathworlders, once seen as Earth's greatest liability, now become the ultimate weapon. Their monstrous forms rip through alien lines, defying the Council's expectations and forcing them into a defensive retreat. Earth's people fight with an intensity and resourcefulness that shocks their enemies. The battle is no longer about brute force alone, it's about outsmarting a superior foe. Arya watches as humanity fights not just for survival, but to prove that they are more than just a destructive force. They are creative, adaptable, and relentless. For the first time, the galaxy sees humanity for what it truly is, a force to be reckoned with. Victory is within reach, but it does not come without its costs. As Earth's forces gain the upper hand, the toll of the war becomes clear. The Deathworlders, though necessary for Earth's survival, have caused destruction on an unimaginable scale. The Council's fleet is in ruins, but the scars of the battle are evident, both in the galaxy and within Earth itself. Arya stands amidst the chaos, knowing that while humanity has won, they have also crossed a line. The use of the Deathworlders, their savage power unleashed without restraint, has irrevocably altered the perception of Earth. They are no longer the helpless species they once were. They are now a force of nature, capable of both great strength and unimaginable destruction. The victory, though crucial, has made humanity something else. Arya's heart aches as she realizes the future they fought for is now uncertain. Can Earth ever return to the peaceful path it once sought? Or has it become a war machine, doomed to repeat the same mistakes that nearly destroyed it in the first place? As the remains of the Galactic Council's fleet drift in the void, the galaxy begins to see Earth in a new light. The battle has been won, but the cost is clear. The once dominant powers of the galaxy are forced to re-evaluate their stance toward Earth. The Council, having underestimated humanity's resilience, now understands the full extent of Earth's potential. But this victory is a double-edged sword. Earth's use of the Deathworlders, their willingness to embrace savagery for survival, leaves a lasting mark. The galaxy no longer sees Earth as a primitive species, but they do not see it as a peaceful one either. Earth is now a force to be reckoned with, a civilization capable of immense power, but one that must be watched closely. Arya stands amidst the ruins, her mind heavy with the realization that while Earth has survived, it has also irrevocably changed. The future remains uncertain. Will Earth continue on this path, or will it find a way to coexist with the galaxy? Will humanity be able to embrace the peaceful future it once dreamed of, or will the temptation of power prove too strong to resist? The war may be over, but the battle for Earth's future has just begun. As the survivors of Earth begin the long process of rebuilding, the scars of the war remain. Arya and her team work tirelessly to forge a new path forward, one that involves cooperation with the galactic powers, but also one where Earth can preserve its sovereignty. The peace is fragile, and the galaxy still watches Earth with wariness and suspicion. Earth's people must now navigate the complexities of their past actions, and the harsh reality that their place in the galaxy is still uncertain. The question remains, will humanity find a way to evolve beyond its violent past, or will it be consumed by the very power that saved it? Arya stands at the helm, ready to lead her people into the unknown. The future is filled with challenges, but humanity has proven that it can survive. The real test, however, will be whether it can thrive Earth's victory, though hard-won, has come at a steep price. Arya stands alone in her command center, staring at the ruined Deathworld project facilities on her holographic display. The once formidable weapon that had ensured their survival now lies shattered. She knows what must be done. The future of humanity hinges on a decision that is almost too painful to bear. With a heavy heart, she gives the order to destroy the genetic enhancement facilities, the heart of the Deathworlders. It is an act of sacrifice, a choice made in the name of humanity's redemption. The weight of her decision presses down on her as she watches the screen flash red with confirmation. Earth, once a world of unimaginable power, now stands vulnerable. Their most powerful weapon is gone, but Arya's resolve is clear. Humanity will not be defined by destruction. Her sacrifice is a painful but necessary step towards a future built on hope, not fear. As the news of the destruction spreads, Arya grapples with her internal struggle. Was this the right choice? Has she just crippled Earth's chances of survival? As the dust settles, she knows she has led humanity down a new path, one where survival no longer means sacrificing its soul. This is a turning point for Arya, from warrior to leader, guiding her people toward a future free from violence. The Galactic Council watches Earth from afar, its gaze filled with skepticism. The idea that humanity, once a chaotic force capable of unimaginable destruction, might change is a concept the Council can barely grasp. But then they witness the aftermath of Arya's decision. The destruction of the Deathworlders' facilities is a shockwave that reverberates across the galaxy. For the first time, the Council sees humanity's capacity for restraint, and in that moment, their position begins to shift. The decision to spare Earth from annihilation is not a foregone conclusion. It's a decision based on hope. The Council acknowledges that humanity's future might not be sealed in violence, but in cooperation. Earth's official re-entry into galactic society is sealed with a new treaty, one that opens the door to a future where humanity's survival is no longer a threat. The treaty is conditional, however, under strict supervision from the Council. Earth must prove it can live up to this second chance. As Arya stands in front of her team, she knows the road ahead will not be easy. The galaxy will watch Earth closely, waiting for any signs of aggression. But the first step has been taken. Earth is no longer an outcast. It has earned the right to exist, but now it must prove it can thrive without resorting to violence. The fragile peace Arya has fought for is far from secure. While Earth's survival is no longer in immediate danger, the scars of war run deep, and the galaxy is not quick to forgive. Arya stands at the helm of a divided world. Earth's factions are still deeply fractured. Some believe that Earth should embrace its newfound opportunity for peace, while others are not so sure. The temptation to dominate the galaxy, to secure Earth's future by force, is a powerful pull. Arya knows that her leadership will be tested like never before. Humanity must now prove that it can be trusted to coexist, to build partnerships, and collaborate, not just to survive, but to thrive. The path is uncertain, and the stakes have never been higher. Earth, a once feared and brutal planet, must now shed its violent past and embrace diplomacy. But can humanity truly change? Can Earth evolve from a weapon of destruction to a force for peace? Arya's internal struggle is as profound as it is painful. She watches her people with a heavy heart, knowing that while the war is over, the fight for humanity's future is far from finished. Peace is fragile, and Arya must guide humanity through these next steps carefully. The weight of leadership has never felt heavier, but in her heart, Arya knows that if humanity is to survive, it must rise to the challenge. As Earth moves forward, it faces a galaxy full of uncertainty. Arya leads her people into a new era, one where cooperation, not destruction, must guide their way. The possibility for alliances is real, but so too are the risks. Earth's past haunts it, and the scars of war are still fresh. Arya watches. The first steps of rebuilding with hope, tempered by reality. The galaxy's uncharted possibilities stretch before them, but the questions remain. Will Earth evolve into a peaceful force, or will the temptation for power tear it apart? The old scars still run deep, and while the threat of extinction has passed, the path to peace is far from guaranteed. Earth's place in the galaxy is no longer determined by brute force, but by diplomacy and cooperation. The questions of survival are no longer the only ones humanity must answer. Now they must ask, can humanity live in harmony with the galaxy, or will its violent nature always pull it back to the edge of destruction? The future is open-ended, full of potential, yet fraught with peril. In the end, Ishia looks to the stars, knowing that the fight for humanity's future is just beginning. Earth had fought its last battle against overwhelming odds, against the very forces that had once cast them aside. Yet in victory there is no joy. The victory of Earth, now firmly seated at the galactic table, is tainted by the scars of war. The planet, a symbol of brute strength and survival, wears its past like a badge of shame. The war, though over, lingers in the minds of its people. They are no longer outcasts, but the cost of their survival has altered their very identity. The scars are deep, etched in the hearts of those who fought, and in the land they fought to protect. Arya Nova, their fearless leader, stands at the precipice of this transformation. Her people, divided still, must now rebuild a broken planet and a broken trust. Some long for peace, for humanity to evolve beyond the horrors of its past. Others, embittered and emboldened by their survival, crave dominance, a role that once seemed impossible. Arya must find a way to steer Earth toward peace, even as the echoes of the old world persist. Can humanity truly change, or will its history repeat? The weight of this journey is not just on Earth's future, but on Arya herself. As Earth's tentative steps into the galactic fold begin, the uncertain whispers of diplomacy and alliance flicker across the stars. The path ahead is not clear. Humanity's entry into galactic society is slow and fraught with tension. The galaxy watches Earth, hesitant, wary of the violence that once defined the species. Arya, as humanity's guiding light, faces an entirely new challenge. She must navigate the political complexities of an intergalactic world, where every decision, every word, could tip the balance of peace or provoke a new conflict. Earth's strength is no longer in its weapons, but in its resilience, its ability to adapt. The question remains, can humanity overcome the shadow of its violent past? Arya knows that peace is a fragile thing, and Earth's newfound strength could either foster trust or spark a new war. The stakes are high, and as Earth slowly builds relationships with distant civilizations, Arya's role takes on an ever-increasing weight. Will humanity step into the galaxy as equals, or will it once again be consumed by the power it holds? The future is as uncertain as the galaxy's Earth now looks toward. The scars of war have not healed. They never will. Humanity stands at the edge of its future, poised between the hope of peace and the terror of its own destructive nature. Arya Nova leads with resolve, but the internal divisions within Earth grow more complex. As the political factions of Earth continue to bicker, torn between the ideals of peace and the temptation for domination, the galaxy remains a watchful, cautious audience. The peace that Arya has fought for is fragile, built on shaky alliances and uncertain trust. The cost of Earth's survival may one day be revealed, but for now, Earth breathes, unsure if it can ever truly break free from the claws of its past. Arya feels the weight of every decision, the responsibility of leading humanity out of the darkness and into the light of a new era. But the future is uncertain. Will humanity evolve into the peaceful, cooperative force the galaxy hopes for? Or will it return to the darkness it so narrowly escaped? The path ahead is filled with questions of power, trust, and survival, and only time will tell whether Earth will rise or fall in the face of its own potential for greatness or destruction. As Arya gazes out at the vast expanse of space, she knows that the true test for humanity has just begun. The question remains, will they meet it, or will they succumb to the weight of their past?